Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive on studying in Malta.
Super exciting topic.
It is exciting, right?
Yeah.
Especially since we've got all this great information from Talnet Student Consultancy.
They're the experts, right?
They are based in Sri Lanka and helping students navigate the whole process of getting to Malta to study.
I can already tell this is going to be valuable.
For sure. Our mission today is to give you the inside scoop, the real deal, on getting a Maltese student visa.
I like to think of it as decoding the secrets to success.
Exactly. So, first up, why Malta? What's making it such a hot spot, especially for Sri Lankan students?
Well, the source says it's kind of a trifecta of awesome, affordable tuition, big plus.
Always helps.
Right. And then you have the education system, which is super closely aligned with UK standards, thanks to these collaborations they have with UK exam bodies.
So you're getting that British-style education, but with a European adventure.
Yeah, and without totally breaking the bank.
Okay, I'm sold on the WHY Malta, but how hard is it to actually get that visa?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? The source is a little hesitant to give a solid percentage, like a success rate.
I did it.
Because so many different things affect that: international relations, how strong your application is, even just plain luck sometimes.
Got it.
But the good news is Sri Lanka and Malta seem to have a pretty good relationship when it comes to immigration.
Phew, that is good news.
Right.
So let's say I'm ready to apply. Walk me through it. What are the absolute must-do steps?
Okay, first things first, you've got to get accepted, right?
Okay.
An acceptance letter from a Maltese educational institution.
So that's step one, you're in.
Exactly. That's like your golden ticket. Then you've got the visa application, pretty standard stuff.
Okay.
But the source really emphasizes accuracy and completeness, like they mean it.
So no typos, no missing information.
Nope, could be a deal breaker.
Got it. Triple check everything.
Exactly.
What about the documents? What do we need to gather?
Okay, this is where it gets real. You need your valid passport, obviously.
Makes sense.
But then there's proof of funds, and this can be a tough one.
I can imagine. How much are we talking, and why is that so important?
Yeah, so for the academic year 2025, you need to show about 9,855. That works out to like 27 per day.
Okay.
For living expenses. It's all about showing you can support yourself, that you're not going to be a financial burden to Malta.
Right. Responsible, independent.
Yeah, exact.
What else is on the document checklist?
You'll need to show where you'll be living, accommodation details.
Right.
And, of course, your academic qualifications.
Okay, like transcripts and things.
Yep. And don't forget travel medical insurance. And you'll need a vaccination certificate.
Both in English.
Yes. Everything needs to be in English. It's all about showing you're prepared.
It's a lot, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it seems like a lot, but...
But I have a feeling there's more to it than just checking boxes.
You are absolutely right.
What are the visa officers really looking at? What makes an application stand out?
You are so right. It's not just filling in the blanks. It's about, the source really highlights financial documentation again and again. And that makes sense, right? They want to see that money.
Yeah.
But also a really well-written statement of purpose, that's
Yeah.
the SOP, that can make a difference.
An SOP. Why is that so important? What is it exactly?
It's basically your story. Why Malta? Why this program? What are your goals?
Yeah.
They want to know that this is a good fit,
Okay.
that you're serious about studying, not just trying to get a backdoor to Europe.
So it's showing them you've thought about it, you have a plan.
Yeah, a plan and a purpose. That you'll go home after you finish your studies.
So it's about showing that you've done your research, you're serious about your education.
Yes, precisely. And of course, this goes without saying, but accuracy and completeness are super crucial.
No sloppiness allowed.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
One little error and boom, rejection pile.
So attention to detail is key.
Definitely is.
Now, I know nobody likes to think about this, but what happens if your visa gets rejected?
Ooh, the dreaded what if.
Yeah. Does the source give any advice about that?
Rejections do happen, of course, especially if there's a problem with your documents or you can't prove you're financially stable.
Right.
But the source says you can reapply.
Okay.
The key is to fix whatever caused the rejection the first time. Learn from it, come back stronger.
So don't give up.
Nope, not at all.
What about appealing the decision? Is that possible?
They do mention appealing, but they don't really recommend it. Seems like a long shot, probably not worth the hassle.
Makes sense. Okay, so let's say I'm feeling good about my chances, but I want to give my application that extra edge.
Love that attitude.
Any advice on how to make it stand out?
Talnet, they talk about their personalized approach.
Like,
They really stress assessing everything, your academics, age, finances, language skills, even your ambitions.
wow, the whole picture.
Yeah, it's about figuring out if Malta really assessed the right fit, not just checking boxes, but finding a good match.
I love that. Makes so much sense.
Right. It shows that you're thoughtful, that you
Yeah.
didn't just throw an application at any European country.
It's your future, right?
Exactly, and they see that you're committed.
Okay, so it's about more than just the paperwork. It's about being strategic and showing you're genuinely interested in Malta.
You got it. Now, the source gets into specifics about entry requirements for different programs, and it can get kind of confusing, so...
Okay, let's break it down.
Yes, let's.
Yeah.
So, first up, undergraduate courses. You need your Sri Lankan General Certificate of Education results.
Those A-level results.
Yep, and those are super easy to download from that Department of Examination website, so make sure you've got them.
Okay, pretty straightforward. What about for those going for an MBA?
For that, you'll need to show that you've got a bachelor's degree, a BSc or a postgraduate qualification that's equivalent.
So solid academic foundation.
Yeah, gotta have a good base. Now, for the interesting one, hospitality management.
Oh yeah, the source seems to have different paths depending on your age.
You're right, it's a little more nuanced. If you're between 19 and 25, you need an undergraduate diploma in hospitality management. But if you're 25 to 32, they're looking for a BA Omens International Hospitality Business Management degree.
Okay.
That's MQF level 6, by the way.
Wait, MQF level 6.
Yeah, don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. MQF is just the Malta qualifications framework. It's their way of making sure everyone's on the same page with qualifications.
Got it.
So level 6 is just, a certain level of study, like a ranking system.
Okay.
And if you're 33 to 36, you need a postgraduate diploma in hospitality and tourism management. And that's level 7.
Wow, a step up.
Yeah, so it's like they've got a path for everyone no matter where you are in your career.
They really do. It's amazing. And you know what? It makes you think, right?
About?
Well, about why they have these age-specific pathways for hospitality. It's not just about the paperwork.
You're right.
It says something about the experience they expect you to have.
Yeah, maybe.
And where you are in your career. And maybe even where you're headed.
Definitely something to think about. It's all about choosing a program that fits your goals and your life.
Yes. Okay, I'm loving all this info, but I want to unpack one thing the source keeps mentioning. UK exam bodies. What's the deal with that, and why should I care?
Okay, so this is where things get strategic.
All right, I'm all ears.
Imagine graduating with a degree that's not just recognized in Malta, but also in the UK, maybe even across the entire Commonwealth.
Okay.
It's huge. It could open up job opportunities internationally, postgraduate opportunities.
So you're not just competing in Sri Lanka anymore?
Exactly. It's a global playing field.
Wow, so it's not just about studying in Malta.
Yep.
It's about what that could do for your future, even back in Sri Lanka.
Exactly. Long-term thinking.
I love it. This is amazing. We've covered so much already, and I'm feeling way more confident about this whole process.
Me too.
But we're just getting started. Stick with us, because in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to uncover even more insider tips and explore all those exciting opportunities that await you in Malta.
Can't wait. Don't miss it.
All right, so we've covered the WHY Malta and the HW to get there, but let's be honest, the European adventure is a big part of the appeal, right?
Of course. That chance to experience all these different cultures and countries, it's huge.
I mean, the source mentions being able to travel during breaks.
Yeah.
Imagine, like, sipping espresso in Rome or checking out the Louvre in Paris. It's amazing.
The possibilities, right?
So what are some of the popular destinations, especially for Sri Lankan students?
Well, Italy's a classic, obviously. It's relatively close to Malta. And pizza, pasta, ancient ruins, come on.
Who can resist?
Exactly. And then France, Paris, another favorite. And Spain, so much culture, beautiful beaches, and those tapas.
Talk about a study break.
Right.
But as much as I'd love to spend all my time exploring Europe,
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about actually, studying
Right. Got to keep those grades up.
back to reality.
Exactly. As tempting as it is to travel, it's important to remember why you're in Malta in the first place.
Okay, back to reality, for a moment at least.
Right.
Let's talk logistics. How does this visa application process actually work? Do I have to fly to Malta to, hand in my paperwork?
No, thankfully not.
Okay.
You can actually do it all in Sri Lanka. They have a VFS application center right there in Colombo.
Wait, VFS, what's that?
It's VFS Global, basically a third-party company that handles visa applications for A bunch of countries, including Malta.
Okay.
They're like the middleman between you and the Maltese embassy.
So it's more convenient.
Way more convenient
All right.
for everyone, really.
Okay, that's good to know. So I submit my application through VFS, and then what? Do I just like sit and wait for weeks? How long does it take?
Yeah, the waiting game is real. The source says it can vary, but it usually takes around 45 days.
45 days. That's a long time.
It is, but don't worry, you're not totally in the dark. VFS has a tracking system on their website.
Okay, that's something.
You can log in, check the status of your
At
application.
least you have some idea.
Exactly. Eases the anxiety a bit.
Speaking of anxiety, do you think like visa officers actually read every application, or are they just skimming for red flags?
Well, I can't speak for every single one of them, but I'd imagine they're trained to be thorough.
Okay.
They're looking for anything that seems off, inconsistencies, things that raise doubts about whether you should get the visa.
So attention to detail, really important.
For sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's say those 45 days have passed, and I'm anxiously checking my inbox like every 5 seconds.
I feel you.
How do I find out if I'm in or not, if my visa's been approved?
Well, the source doesn't say exactly how you're notified, but it's usually in writing, so an email or a letter.
Okay.
So keep an eye on your inbox and your actual mailbox.
Fingers crossed for that congratulations email.
Right.
Okay, let's fast forward. Visa's secured. I'm super excited. What should I be doing to prepare for that big move to Malta?
First things first, immerse yourself in Maltese culture. The more you know about their customs, etiquette, all that, the smoother your transition will be.
Right, avoid those cultural faux pas.
Exactly. Show respect, you know?
Yeah, got to blend in, not stick out like a sore thumb.
Exactly. And don't forget about the practical stuff, like banking.
Right, important.
Yeah, opening a bank account in Malta before you go is a smart move. You'll probably need your passport, visa, proof of address in Malta, maybe your acceptance letter. And finding a place to live, the source mentions that some institutes help with accommodation.
Okay.
Or they'll hook you up with third-party solutions that Telnet can assist with, so definitely something to sort out early on.
I bet. I can imagine landing in Malta without a place to stay.
Yeah, not ideal.
Not at all. I'm also thinking that connecting with other Sri Lankan students who are already there would be helpful.
For sure. They're like a built-in support system, you
Yeah.
know? They can offer advice, insider tips.
Yeah, and just knowing someone who's been through it already.
Definitely makes the difference.
Absolutely. And speaking of support systems, Telnet seems to go above and beyond. They do. They're not just about the paperwork. They really want you to succeed, right?
It seems like it. They offer that personalized guidance, and they help you figure out if Malta is really the right fit.
It's not just about getting you there. It's about making sure you thrive.
Exactly. Finding the right program, the right environment.
It's like they actually care.
It does seem that way, a really holistic approach.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. What is it about Malta that's attracting so many international students in general? Aside from, the affordable tuition and travel perks.
Well, Malta has a reputation for being safe and welcoming,
Okay.
which is huge when you're far from home,
Yeah.
You want to feel secure.
Makes sense.
And Malta has such a cool history and a rich culture. There's always something to discover.
Sounds like a win-win.
Definitely.
Okay, now for the big question. What's the quality of education like in Malta? Will my degree hold weight back in Sri Lanka and elsewhere?
The source really emphasizes the high-quality education system in Malta. And remember, those UK exam bodies. That's a big deal.
Right.
It means a rigorous academic experience and a degree that's recognized internationally.
So a Maltese education could give me an edge in the job market.
It's definitely something to consider.
That's impressive. Okay, so the source mentions these top 2 institutes that are particularly accessible for Sri Lankan students.
Yeah.
One is the Colombo International Hotel School.
Right, which actually has a partner college right there in Sri Lanka.
Makes the transition a little smoother.
For sure.
What's the other one?
That's the mystery. The source doesn't name the second one.
Oh, come on.
Maybe it's up to you to figure that out.
All right, challenge accepted.
Right.
Now, I have to ask, what about the language barrier? Will I need to be fluent in Maltese?
You don't have to be a Maltese expert, don't worry. English is an official language in Malta, widely spoken.
Phew, that's a relief.
You'll be able to get by just fine.
But I bet it wouldn't hurt to brush up on my English skills, just in case.
Right, the more comfortable you are with English, the better. It'll make everything easier, from understanding lectures to making friends.
Speaking of friends, how can Sri Lankan students connect with others and build that support network?
Universities in Malta are really active. Lots of clubs, societies, social events, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Great way to meet people with shared interests, maybe even make some lifelong friends.
Yeah, and combat homesickness too, I bet.
For sure. And just, strike up conversations with people in class, at the library, even at a cafe.
Yeah.
You never know who you'll connect with.
So many possibilities.
Right.
Okay, so we've got the social scene covered, but let's talk about adapting to a new culture. It's different from just visiting, right?
Oh, yeah, it can be a real roller coaster living in a new culture.
In what way?
I mean, you've got the excitement, the confusion, maybe some homesickness, but it's also a chance to grow, Like really discover yourself.
Absolutely. Any tips on handling those cultural differences?
I think the key is to be curious and open. Approach everything with a willingness to learn.
Don't see differences as obstacles, but as opportunities.
Exactly. And stay connected with your loved ones back home.
Oh,
Technology makes it so easy these days, but also make an effort to connect with people in Malta.
yeah.
Building relationships with locals, other international students, that's how you feel at home.
It's all about balance, right?
Yeah, balance is key.
Stay connected to your roots, but branch out and embrace new connections.
Exactly. Now let's address the elephant in the room, safety.
Okay,
Is Malta a safe place for students? It's a valid concern.
it is.
Well, like we said before, Malta has that reputation for being safe and welcoming.
Yeah.
But like anywhere, you've got to be cautious, aware of your surroundings.
Common sense precautions.
Exactly. Don't flash your cash. Be mindful of your belongings. Try not to walk alone in unfamiliar areas late at night.
Right. Those apply everywhere.
Yeah. And it's always good to stay informed, local advisories, safety tips, that kind of thing. Your university or student organization can help with that.
Safety first.
Absolutely.
All right. But let's not forget about the fun stuff. What are some must-see destinations or experiences in Malta itself?
Oh, Malta is full of treasures. Valletta, the capital, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Absolutely stunning.
I've seen pictures. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the architecture is amazing. Baroque palaces, grand cathedrals, those honey-colored buildings. It's beautiful.
Okay, what else?
If you're into history, you have to see Medina, the Silent City.
I've heard of that.
It's this medieval walled city, narrow streets. You feel like you've gone back in time.
Wow, adding that to my list.
You should. And of course, the beaches.
Oh, yeah, there must be some amazing beaches.
Golden Bay, Blue Lagoon, crystal clear waters, stunning scenery.
Okay, now I'm really dreaming of being there, soaking up the sun.
It's magic.
Okay, fast forward again. I finished my study, made some great friends, explored all of Malta, time to head home. Any advice on how to make that transition a little less, I don't know, bittersweet?
Yeah, it's tough to leave, isn't it?
It is.
I think it helps to reflect on your experiences.
Okay.
The lessons you've learned, how you've grown, both personally and academically.
Bring that Maltese magic back home.
Exactly. And stay connected with those friends you made. Keep learning about Maltese culture and use what you've gained to make a difference back home.
Such a good point. It's not just about the time abroad, it's about the impact it has.
Exactly. Now let's talk about life after studying abroad.
Okay, here we go.
The big question, will this experience actually help your career?
Will employers care that I studied in Malta, or will they see it as just a long vacation?
Studying abroad is a huge E+ on your resume, trust me.
Okay.
It shows you're adaptable, independent, comfortable in different environments. Those are valuable skills.
So it's not just about what I learned in class. It's about personal and professional development, growing as a person.
Exactly. And depending on your field, a Maltese degree could open doors to job opportunities, both in Sri Lanka and internationally.
So it really is an investment in my future.
It is. Okay, now let's get down to the financial nitty-gritty.
Okay.
We've talked about tuition, but what about day-to-day expenses? How much should students budget for?
Real life stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Remember that 9,855 figure for living expenses?
Yeah.
That gives us a good starting point, roughly 825 per month.
Okay.
But remember, that's an average. Your actual costs will depend on your lifestyle, where you live, and how much pastis you eat.
Pastis is important.
It is, but okay, let's talk healthcare.
Okay, another big one.
Yeah, the source doesn't say a lot about the healthcare system in Malta, but remember, you need travel medical insurance for your visa application.
All right.
So it seems like international students need their own coverage.
Makes sense.
So be prepared, have a good insurance plan, just in case.
Better safe than sorry. Okay, so we've got the serious stuff down. Visas, finances, safety, even career benefits. But what about the FUN? What should Sri Lankan students do to make the most of their time in Malta, outside of class?
Oh, Malta has something for everyone, honestly.
I bet.
You've got those ancient ruins and fortifications, delicious local cuisine, gorgeous beaches. It's all there.
Sounds perfect.
It is. And don't forget the nightlife. Malta has a pretty lively social scene, especially in areas like Paceville.
Okay, so whether you want a quiet night or you want to dance the night away, you've got options.
Exactly.
It really does sound like a great mix of everything.
It is.
But let's be practical for a second. Budgeting is important. Any specific tips on how to make those euros last a little longer?
Student discounts, my friend. Student discounts.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
So many places offer reduced prices for students. Transportation, museums, even some restaurants.
Always ask.
Always ask. Those savings can make a difference.
For sure. What about part-time work? Is that something Sri Lankan students can look into?
The source doesn't really mention part-time work opportunities, so that's something you'd have to research.
Okay.
Contact your university, the Maltese embassy. They'll have the most up-to-date information.
Good point. Better to be informed.
Exactly.
Okay, back to the academic world. What's the teaching style and classroom culture like in Malta? Big lecture halls or more intimate settings?
Well, the source doesn't go into too much detail, but remember, the education system is similar to the UK.
Yeah.
So you can probably expect a similar approach. Lectures, seminars, group projects, lots of independent study.
Okay.
It's about critical thinking, being proactive.
So be ready to participate.
Yeah, engage in those discussions.
Got it. Now, about those exams, any insight into what those might look like?
The source doesn't get specific about assessment methods, but it's probably safe to assume there'll be a mix of exams, essays, presentations, maybe group work, the usual.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Good study habits and time management, super important.
Essential. Those are key anywhere, but especially when you're adjusting to a new system.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, last question on this topic. Libraries.
Okay.
I'm a big library person. What are they like in Malta?
I'm sure you'll be happy. The source doesn't go into specifics, but, universities and colleges will have good libraries.
Right.
Books, journals, online databases, you name it.
And those quiet, steady spaces.
Oh, yeah. Essential.
Okay, good to know. So we've talked about so much, the visa process, finances, safety, even finding the best pastizi.
Important.
But before we move on, I want to talk about something that's often overlooked, culture shock. It's not all sunshine and rainbows when you move to a new country, right?
Right. It can be tough.
It's a real thing, and it can be pretty intense when you're far from home in a completely different culture.
It's a lot to process.
So any advice for our listeners on how to deal with that?
Be patient with yourself, first of all.
Got
It
it.
takes time to adjust. Don't expect to feel totally comfortable right away.
It's a process.
It is. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. And don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
So it's okay to not be okay.
Exactly. And, knowledge is power. The more you know about Maltese culture, the better prepared you'll be.
Do your research.
Yeah, read about Maltese history, watch some movies, try some Maltese recipes, immerse yourself.
Great ideas.
And connect with other Sri Lankan students who are already there. They can be a huge help.
Yeah, first-hand experience.
Exactly. They've been through it.
So practical tip, but also emotional support.
Exactly. Now, the source doesn't explicitly say what the language of instruction is in Malta. Will I need to be fluent in Maltese to do well in my studies?
That's a good question.
Don't worry. You don't need to master Maltese. English is an official language, and it's widely spoken.
Okay, that makes sense.
Most universities offer programs in English.
So I should be good.
You should be. But, it wouldn't hurt to brush up on your English skills before you go.
Right, the more fluent, the better.
Exactly. It just makes everything smoother.
Okay, now for the fun part, making friends.
Yes.
Any tips on how to break the ice and build those connections?
Yeah. Universities in Malta are really social. Join clubs, go to events, don't be shy.
Put yourself out there.
Exactly. You'll be surprised how easy it is to make friends when everyone's new and wants to explore.
Sounds like a great environment.
It is. And don't be afraid to strike up conversations with people in class or around campus.
Be open to new people.
Exactly.
But let's be real, adjusting to a new culture can be tricky. Any advice on how to handle those cultural differences?
Be open-minded. Be willing to learn.
Okay.
See differences as opportunities to grow.
Right, not as problems to solve.
Exactly. And it's okay to make mistakes. Everyone does. Just learn from them.
And keep an open mind.
Yes. And pay attention. Observe how people interact, what they value, all that.
Good advice. Okay, let's talk about safety. What's it like in Malta?
We've said it before, but Malta has a good reputation for being safe.
Yeah,
Low crime rate, but you still need to be careful, right?
of course.
Common sense precautions, be mindful of your belongings, avoid walking alone late at night, stay informed about local advisories.
Your university can help with that.
Yeah, they'll have resources.
Okay, so safety first, always.
Ah,
But now, for the fun stuff again, exploring Malta.
yes.
What are the must-see places, the experiences that Sri Lankan students should add to their list?
Valletta, for sure. The capital city, UNESCO World Heritage Site. The architecture is incredible.
I've heard so much about it.
You have to see it, those Baroque palaces, grand cathedrals. It's like stepping back in time.
Okay, what else?
Medina, the silent city, medieval walled city, narrow streets, so much history.
I'm adding it to my list right now.
And the beaches, Golden Bay, Blue Lagoon, crystal clear waters.
Okay, now I'm really jealous.
It's amazing.
It sounds incredible.
You'll love it.
Okay, let's imagine I've explored all of Malta. It's time to head back home. Any tips on how to make that transition a little easier?
It can be tough to leave, that's for sure. I think it helps to focus on what you've learned, how you've grown.
Bring those experiences back home.
Yeah, and stay connected with the friends you made. Keep that Maltese spirit alive.
I love that. It's not just about the time abroad. It's about the impact it has on your life.
Exactly.
Okay, let's be realistic for a second. What about career prospects? Will studying abroad actually boost my employability?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good to know.
Studying abroad shows employers that you're adaptable, independent, comfortable in different environments, all valuable skills.
So it's about more than just the degree.
Way more.
It's about personal and professional development.
You got it.
And a Maltese degree could open up job opportunities, maybe even internationally.
It's definitely possible.
Wow, so it really is an investment.
It is. Okay, let's talk about something that's really important, sharing your experiences.
Oh, yeah. How can Sri Lankan students who've studied in Malta inspire others to follow in their footsteps?
Social media is a great platform.
For sure.
Share your stories, photos, tips, all that.
Give people a glimpse of what it's like.
Exactly. And don't underestimate word of mouth. Talk to your friends, family, anyone who might be interested.
Those personal connections can be so powerful.
Absolutely. It's about sparking that passion, encouraging others to embrace the adventure.
I love it. Now, before we move on to the final part, I want to talk about personal growth.
Yeah.
It's not just about the academics, right?
No, not at all. It's about pushing yourself, embracing new challenges, discovering things about yourself you didn't even know.
Like a reset button.
Yeah, exactly. Living in a new culture, all those unfamiliar situations, it can be transformative.
It really can. Okay, let's talk about homesickness. It's a natural emotion, but it can be tough to deal with.
It can.
Any tips on coping with that?
Technology is your friend. Video calls, messages, social media, all those things help.
Stay connected.
But it's also important to connect with people in Malta. Join those clubs, go to events, talk to your classmates.
Right, build those new connections.
Exactly. The more you engage, the less isolated you'll feel.
So it's about balance again.
Always about balance.
Stay connected to your roots, but embrace the new.
That's it.
And if you're really struggling, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Your university will have resources.
They will.
Okay, last thing before we move on. Pre-departure jitters. Any advice on how to prepare for that big move?
Preparation is key.
Okay.
Research Maltese culture. Familiarize yourself with the customs.
Do your homework?
Exactly. And get the practical stuff sorted. Documents, finances, accommodation, all that.
The more organized you are, the less stressful it'll be.
Exactly. And don't forget to pack a sense of adventure.
Oh, essential.
Be open to the unexpected.
Studying abroad is a journey.
It really is. Embrace it all, the good and the bad.
Love that.
Yeah.
And speaking of sharing experiences, I want to circle back to that.
Okay.
How can Sri Lankan students who have been to Malta inspire others to take that leap?
Social media is a great tool. Post photos, videos, write blog posts, share your thoughts.
But let people see what it's really like.
Exactly. And talk to people, share your story, your passion.
Those personal connections can be so inspiring.
Absolutely.
Okay, before we wrap up this part, I want to go back to the UK exam bodies thing. We talked about how a Maltese degree could be good for your career. But there's another angle to this.
What's that?
Think about this, because Malta's education system is aligned with UK standards. Your degree might be recognized in other countries that also follow the UK system.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's not just about Malta and the UK.
There could be so many more countries.
Imagine the possibilities.
Yeah, it's huge.
Job opportunities, further studies, even immigration.
Wow, that's amazing.
Is about thinking long term.
Exactly.
This is incredible. We've covered so much, from the visa process to culture shock to all the amazing opportunities.
That's been a lot.
But we're not done yet. In our final part, we'll explore even more about studying in Malta, those hidden gems, the insider tips.
Can't wait.
Don't miss it. All right, we've talked about all the important stuff, visas, money, even culture shock, but let's be real for a sec.
Yeah.
Studying abroad, it's about having FUN too.
Absolutely. Gotta enjoy the experience.
Exactly. So beyond traveling, what are some must-do things in Malta itself? What should students put at the top of their list?
Well, Malta is just overflowing with history, right?
Yeah.
So exploring all those ancient ruins, the fortifications, the historical sites, that's a must. Valletta, Memdina, they're not just pretty places, they're like living museums.
Okay, history's covered.
Yeah.
But what about food? Any must-try dishes?
Oh, get ready for some amazing food. Maltese cuisine is this incredible mix of Mediterranean and Arabic influences.
Sounds delicious.
It is. Finnek, which is rabbit, that's a local delicacy, you gotta try it. And pastisi, those savory pastries filled with ricotta or peas. Oh my goodness.
That's deetsy.
So good.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list. Now, what about nightlife? Is Malta a party place or more laid back?
It's kind of both, actually.
Okay.
You've got areas like Paceville, that's where the clubs and bars are, open super late.
Okay.
But you'll also find tons of cozy pubs, cafes, restaurants with that chill Mediterranean vibe.
So something for everyone.
Exactly. Depends what you're looking for.
Okay, I like it. Now back to budgeting for a sec. We
Right.
talked about it before, but any tips on how to stretch those euros a bit?
Student discounts. Never underestimate those.
Yeah, good point.
Seriously, so many places offer discounts for students.
Like where?
Transportation, museums, even some restaurants. It all adds up.
I'm all about saving money.
Yeah.
What about part-time work? Can Sri Lankan students do that to help with expenses?
The source doesn't really say anything about part-time work for international students, so you'd have to check on that.
Okay,
Contact your university or the Maltese embassy. They'll know the rules.
good advice. All right, let's talk academics. What's the teaching style like in Malta? Big lecture halls or smaller classes?
The source doesn't give specifics, but remember, Malta's system is aligned with the UK.
Right.
So you're probably looking at a similar setup. Lectures, seminars, and lots of independent study.
Okay, so be ready to hit the books.
Yeah, it's about developing your own thinking, being an active learner.
Got it. Speaking of academics, let's talk about exams. What can students expect?
The source doesn't say exactly how they assess students, but it's probably a mix of things, right?
Like what?
Exams, essays, presentations, maybe group projects. It depends on the program and the professor.
Okay, sounds pretty standard. So good study habits are key.
Absolutely. Time management, too, especially in a new system.
Makes sense. Okay, last question on academics libraries. I'm a big library person. What are they like in Malta?
I'm sure you'll be happy. Maltese universities and colleges, they'll have well-equipped libraries.
Good.
All the resources you need. Books, journals, online databases, quiet study spaces, everything.
A student's paradise.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered so much, from visas to pastisi to libraries.
It's been quite a journey.
But before we wrap up this whole deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
We talked about the UK exam bodies
Hmm.
and how they shape Malta's education, but think about this.
Yeah.
A Maltese degree, because of that connection, it could be recognized in other countries that also follow the UK system.
Oh, wow.
It's not just about Malta and the UK.
It's like a whole world of possibilities.
Exactly. Job opportunities, further studies,
Hmm.
maybe even immigration to other countries.
It's incredible.
It's about thinking long-term, strategically.
This one decision could have such a huge impact.
And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Wow. Time flies.
I hope you're feeling inspired, informed, and excited about the possibility of studying in Malta.
That was an amazing opportunity.
This is just the beginning of your adventure. A whole world is out there waiting to be explored.
Best of luck with your application, and who knows, maybe we'll see you in Malta someday.
Until then, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and keep diving deep.